What's up guys, Zami here and you're watching Heavy Metal Pomp. I know this is a different setup than what you're normally used to seeing, but I thought I'd try something a bit different today, so let me know what you think. I wanted to do a slightly more casual video today and I thought, no, let's talk about the PS4 controller for a bit. Now, I love the PS4, but let's face it, the analog sticks on the DualShock 4 suck ass. They are not good at all. The texture on the analog sticks aren't super grippy and they're pretty notorious for wearing out over time. Luckily, there are several easy remedies to get around that issue. Today I'm gonna talk about 3 of the better and more common options. One's from Skull & Co, KontrolFreeks, and these aftermarket Xbox Elite analog sticks. I know that all of these aren't the exact same thing with one another, but they all have a similar purpose and function in mind. Now, I'm not gonna do a super in-depth comparison within the 3, but I will talk about the pros and cons of each one, and at the end of this video, I'll talk about my personal favorite option. And before I continue, I just want to point out that I'm not sponsored by any of these companies mentioned, and that I bought all of this with my own money. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Jesus, it's fucking noisy today, man. Alright, I just shut my windows, so hopefully that helps with minimizing background noise, so I do apologize for any of that. Okay, anyways, on to the video. First, let's talk about the Skull & Co ones. These are thumb grips for the DualShock 4, and just like the ones for the Switch, they come in 3 different size options. One's more of a skin grip, another is a concave grip that's a bit thicker, and the last is a raised thumb grip. The one I have on this particular DualShock 4 is actually all 3 grips. You have the skin grip, the thicker concave grip on the top, and the heightened stick on the bottom. You actually get 2 of each grip size, so you can either have the same grip on each analog stick or mix and match according to your preference. If your main focus is for FPS games, ideally you'd want a heightened grip for the right stick and maybe just the skin grip for the left. Now let's talk about the pros. First of all, I like the flexibility that you get with these. You can mix and match to your heart's content and find something that works well for you or even for a particular game. Secondly, even if you just use this as a skin grip, the protection alone will help prolong the analog stick's lifespan on the DualShock 4. And lastly, I really like the texture on these grips. They feel really nice and the grip feels very organic for me. It's just like the analog stick was made this way. Now next up, let's talk about the cons. First off, if you're really looking to get a height increase for that right stick, these don't go super high. Especially compared to some of the other options available, that heightened grip is pretty short overall. Now my second and main issue with this is that the fit isn't perfect. Despite the fact that these are specifically for the DualShock 4, the fit is just ever so slightly loose. It's not terribly loose, but there were times where I was in the heat of a gunfight and the grips just slipped off my analog sticks. Kinda like that. Now it doesn't happen super frequently, but it still happened, so that's definitely a concern. Overall, I think these are better off used as a protective solution rather than something to enhance your gaming experience. So that's the Skull & Co's. Now next up, let's talk about the KontrolFreeks. Now KontrolFreeks are probably the most popular option, especially amongst FPS gamers. For those unaware, they make several different thumb grips with different grip designs, colors, and height options. I actually have 2 of them. First one is the Galaxy, which you see on this DualShock 4. And second is the Overwatch ones, which I have on the side here. Now these both are very similar in the sense that the left grip is a low one and the right one increases the stick height. Now KontrolFreek does have many options, some of which don't have the right stick height increase, so you can get those that fit your need the best. Now on to the pros of KontrolFreeks. Because these grips just clip onto your analog sticks, they're not going anywhere. It's not gonna slip off mid-game and they feel really secure. Secondly, just like the Skull & Co's, these will do a pretty good job prolonging the lifespan of your default analog sticks. And lastly, the grips on these are fantastic. Especially these Galaxy ones in particular, I feel like I get a really good grip on these. Now lastly, let's talk about the cons. Firstly, because they only come in fixed sets of 2s, you're pretty much stuck with what you get. The only way for you to have a range of options would be to buy several sets of grips, which can get pretty costly. Secondly, I'm not a big fan of the flashy colors. I'm okay with the texture designs, but I wish they came in a few colored options that are less striking. I know that's a very nitpicky issue, but it's still something that's a consideration for me at least. And my last peeve is that the clips that fasten on the analogs leave a bit of a mark on them. Now this is probably the most non-issue issue amongst the rest, but I still think it's a consideration as well. Especially if you have a more limited edition controller, you don't want to run the risk of damaging any parts. Overall, I think that these are great for those who specifically know what they need and need a really good grip on their sticks. And lastly, let's talk about these aftermarket Xbox Elite analog sticks. As the name suggests, these analog sticks are similar to what you get on the Xbox Elite controller. Obviously, these aren't official, but they serve the same exact purpose and work pretty well overall. Now, because these aren't grips like the last two options, there's a bit of surgery required to install these into your DualShock 4. It's a fairly simple procedure, and the kit even includes the necessary screwdrivers required. The kit comes with 3 analog stick heights, a regular one which I have on this left side here, a slightly taller dome stick, and a much taller analog stick which is what I have on this right one. Also in the kit itself, you get 2 of each stick as well. Now because the sticks are attached by magnets, it gives you the freedom to swap your analog sticks on the fly. It's really easy, just like that. And now I have this domed one on my left one. And if I want to swap it back out, just pop it off, put it on. It's that easy. Anyways, let's talk about the pros now. As mentioned, the ease of being able to swap your sticks out is a major advantage. It's really effortless and it does the job pretty well. The magnets on them work surprisingly well too, and they pretty much never come off mid-game. I've never had that issue. Now, on to cons. These definitely aren't the easiest things to install, especially when you compare it to the other 2 options that I showed earlier on. It's not the most difficult thing to do, but it's still a bit of work, which I know some people aren't willing to go through. Secondly, these don't fit perfectly in my DualShock 4. There are times where the analog stick would stick to a certain position and I have to manually dislodge it. Like you see right here, it's stuck in this bottom right angle. And I have to just nudge it back into default position. This can be such a huge issue and can really make or break you in FPS games. That's pretty fucking bad, man. Look at that. That is pretty fucking bad. I will say that I've pressed the analog in really hard and it happens really rarely, but it still happens on occasion. It's like maybe 1 out of 10 times it's gonna get stuck. I don't know. Seems to work pretty well now. Okay, now it's getting stuck again. And my last issue with these is that the texture on the grips, complete garbage. They just feel like trash. They feel super slippery, especially on the domed ones, and they're just really terrible. These concave ones aren't all that bad, but the domed ones, I do not recommend them at all. These suck ass. Anyways, overall I think these are good if you really want the ease of swapping sticks out without much hassle. Now I'm gonna talk about my personal favorite out of the 3, and it's actually a combination of the 2 options mentioned. What I like using is the Xbox Elite sticks with the Skull & Co grips on them. So let me just put them on. Also, because I can actually take out the Xbox Elite style sticks, it actually makes it a bit easier to install the grips on them. So there you have it, Xbox Elite style sticks with the Skull & Co grips on them. This way I get the ease of swapping out stick heights while still getting a nice grippy texture. As much as I really like the KontrolFreeks, I find myself using this combination more frequently. Of course, this is all super subjective, and my advice for you is to take all of this information, maybe try it out and form your own opinion. Now, I actually have a 4th option that I'm not gonna talk about in this video. It's a very similar option to the Xbox Elite sticks, but I'm gonna talk about it in a future DualShock 4 mod video, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you liked the video and let me know if you've thought of getting any of these thumb grips. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube nonsense, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.